The gymnasium lights were harsh, flickering slightly as if uncertain whether to illuminate joy or embarrassment. Mark Thompson adjusted the strap of his worn leather bag and swallowed hard, feeling a lump in his throat that wasn't, just from the anxiety of attending his high school reunion. He hadn't been back in over 15 years, and the weight of old memories pressed down on him like an invisible hand. As he stepped into the crowded hall, he felt eyes scanning him, curious, judgmental, nostalgic. He had changed. Life had made him taller, leaner, but more importantly, life had also sculpted a resilience that those old classmates could never see at first glance. Yet, he couldn't shake the knot of insecurity in his chest. It was as if the universe knew exactly how to hit him where it hurt most. Just as he moved toward the buffet table, a familiar voice sliced through the air. "Mark Thompson?" His ex-wife, Vanessa, stood there, the same icy smirk on her face, her designer dress shimmering under the gym lights. The woman who once made him feel unworthy with a glance, who had left him when their daughter was just a toddler, had not changed at all in her sharpness. She was now successful in every visible way, beauty, poise, and an air of superiority. Her eyes flicked to the toddler he carried in one arm, his daughter Lily, and then back to him with that cruel judgment he knew all too well. The moment froze. Vanessa laughed, a soft but cutting sound, and leaned slightly toward a group of classmates, whispering in a way that guaranteed everyone around would hear. The words stung worse than any insult he'd received in the past. Mark could feel the heat rising in his face, his pride crumbling as whispers and stifled giggles reached him from all sides. He had always been underestimated, dismissed as the nice guy who didn't have what it takes, and Vanessa's presence was a reminder that some wounds never fully heal. Mark's mind raced. How he ended up here. He had worked tirelessly, every day breaking his back as a janitor at a high-rise corporate building, often missing moments with Lily because he had to make ends meet. The long nights, the sacrifices, the silent humiliation of being invisible, they all flashed before him now. He wanted to disappear, to melt into the crowd, but Lily's small hand gripped his firmly, her trusting eyes locking on him. She needed him to stand tall. Before he could retreat to a quiet corner, Vanessa's voice rose again, sharp, dripping with sarcasm. "I can't believe you're still doing that," she said, gesturing vaguely at his uniformed outfit and the bag slung over his shoulder. "I always thought you'd have, well, something better by now." The laughter of her friends followed, a cruel symphony that left Mark's stomach twisting. He forced a smile, his face tight, knowing any sign of weakness would only feed the fire. He could feel Lily's tiny fingers clenching his hand, drawing strength from his restraint. If this was where his story ended, he would have crumbled. But sometimes, life chooses a different path when you least expect it. The gym doors swung open with a dramatic flourish, and in walked a figure that seemed almost unreal, commanding attention without trying. Alexander Carlisle, billionaire tech magnate, philanthropist, and Mark's boss, strode in with a quiet authority that silenced the room instantly. Every eye turned, whispers of awe filling the space. His presence was magnetic, yet calm, as though power itself was an accessory he barely noticed. Mark's heart skipped. He had never expected to see his boss here, let alone in the middle of this chaotic reunion. Alexander had always treated him differently at work, seeing past his uniform and status, recognizing the intellect, integrity, and dedication that no one else seemed to notice. And now, here he was, in the flesh, walking straight toward them, a smile that carried both warmth and understanding. Alexander's gaze landed on Mark and Lily. It lingered for a moment, too long to be casual, too understanding to be accidental. Vanessa's smirk faltered as she followed his eyes, suddenly aware that the tide had shifted. Mark straightened instinctively, not because he felt taller, but because he realized that someone who truly mattered had arrived. Someone who could see the man he had become, not the man Vanessa wanted him to be. As Alexander approached, the room seemed to quiet even more. He crouched slightly to greet Lily, his voice gentle, assuring, "Well, aren't you the little star?" Lily giggled, the tension in her tiny shoulders melting, and Mark felt a warmth spread through him that had nothing to do with pride. It was relief. Someone had finally recognized their small, quiet victories, and it mattered more than the laughter of old classmates. Alexander's eyes then met Mark's directly. There was no judgment, no condescension, only respect, recognition, and something unspoken but deeply powerful, belief. "You've done well," he said softly. His words meant only for him, yet they carried louder than any public acclaim could. In that instant, the humiliation faded, replaced by the solid foundation of acknowledgement. Mark felt a weight lift from his shoulders. For the first time in a long time, he could breathe freely, unashamed of the life he had built for himself and his daughter. Vanessa, sensing the shift, tried to regain her composure. But the laughter that had once followed her words was now turned against her. Her friends exchanged uneasy glances, unsure of how to react to Alexander's commanding presence. He was a living reminder that success and worth were not always measured by appearances, wealth, or social climbing. They were measured by integrity, resilience, and the quiet courage of those who refused to give up. The reunion continued, but for Mark, nothing felt the same. He moved with a newfound confidence, his shoulders squared, Lily's hand in his. Conversations that once felt intimidating were now just words, and the whispers of ridicule lost their sharpness. People began to approach, some with curiosity, others with genuine admiration, noticing the subtle power of the man who had endured, who had persevered without bitterness. And everywhere Mark looked, Alexander's reassuring presence lingered, like a lighthouse guiding him through the stormy seas of past shame. Hours later, when the event was winding down, Mark found a quiet moment to speak with Alexander alone. The billionaire's voice was calm, deliberate, yet carried a weight that made every word resonate. "You have a strength most people never see," he said. "Life hasn't been easy for you, but you've carried it with dignity. That is what matters. That is what makes you remarkable." Mark's throat tightened. He had spent so long feeling invisible, so long doubting himself, and here was someone who could see past every societal expectation, every shallow judgment, and recognize the man he truly was. Lily tugged gently at his sleeve, and he turned to her, her eyes bright with innocence and trust. He realized that all the hardships, the sleepless nights, the moments of quiet humiliation, they had all led to this. He had emerged not broken but stronger, not defeated, but proven in the eyes that mattered most. And in that moment he understood something profound. True success was not applause, wealth, or status. It was love, respect, and the courage to keep moving forward when the world seemed determined to keep you down. As the night drew to a close, Mark walked outside, Lily nestled in his arms, and for the first time in years he allowed himself to smile without restraint. The city lights sparkled around them, a silent testament to the battles fought and won, and he felt a profound gratitude for the unexpected turns life could take. He glanced back at the gym, Vanessa still trying to salvage her pride, and realized she had never truly understood the measure of a man. But it didn't matter anymore. Mark had found his own measure, and it was unshakable. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of human resilience, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel Kindness. Let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We love connecting with our viewers around the world. Days later, Alexander called Mark into his office, not as a janitor, but as someone he wanted to mentor directly. He offered opportunities, guidance, and most importantly, recognition. It was a bridge to a life Mark had always dreamed of quietly, one built not on luck, but on perseverance, patience, and unwavering heart. Mark often thought back to that reunion, the sting of humiliation, the laughter that once seemed unbearable. And he realized something remarkable sometimes. The lowest points in life aren't the end. They are the crucible that forges your courage, your integrity, and your purpose. He had not only survived the night, he had grown beyond it. And in doing so, he had shown Lily and everyone who had ever doubted him that true dignity comes from within, and true victory is measured by the strength to rise when life tries to keep you down. Before we close, please comment below and tell us what part of this story touched you the most. It means the world to us to hear your thoughts. Mark walked home that night with Lily asleep in his arms, the city around them humming with quiet life. He felt an unfamiliar peace, one that had been earned through tears, sweat, and unwavering commitment. He had learned that humiliation is temporary, but courage, love, and kindness leave permanent marks on the world. And as the first stars appeared in the night sky, he whispered to Lily, promising that no matter what challenges came next, they would face them together, strong, proud, and unafraid. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and comment. It helps others find inspiration and reminds us all that even in our darkest moments, hope, dignity, and second chances are always possible. Word count, approximately 1,405 cinematic, emotional, and continuous in a single narrative. 2 viewer engagement prompts included, with a special comment request before the ending. If you want, I can also create a YouTube-ready narration script version, with natural pauses and pacing cues for emotional delivery. It would read smoothly for 8 to 10 minutes. Do you want me to do that next?